Hello everyone, this is JasonGamingKing here. This is going to be my first of many Road to 1500 videos. I finally figured out a way where I can record everything, so sorry to all the people who I've said I would start like months ago and then just didn't. I just didn't have things ready at the time. But we're gonna start with one of my first rated games I've played in the last 6-7 months, because I feel it's right, and it's also fairly recent, so I have more or less the ideas from the game still in mind. I remember what I was thinking in this game. But we start with the white pieces, and as of right now I'm favoring the Italian because I'm being trained a bit on the Italian. So I start with e4, and normally for the Italian you play e5, but in this they're going for, I assume, a Caro-Kann at first, and they play d6. I respond because I have been watching higher level players, and a lot of them generally say if you can take command of the center with both of your center pawns, you do so, so I play d4. They respond with g6, looking to fianchetto the bishop for some kind of King's Indian opening. I play knight c3, trying to cover the pawn, take over more space in the center, use the tempo that they're allowing me to have on gaining power over the center while I can. They fianchetto the bishop with bishop g7. I play knight f3, getting both my knights out, having a very strong center. They play knight f6, pretty much finishing up their setup of the King's Indian. I play bishop d3, looking to reinforce the pawn on e4, just in case they have any ideas to sacrifice for some reason. It's always good to cover as much as you can. They castle. I get out the other bishop, make it symmetrical, bishop e3. They play to fianchetto the other bishop, the light square bishop, by playing b6. I castle. They fianchetto with bishop b7. I push the pawn because I don't like that both of their bishops have a strong diagonal, so I'm looking to use the pawn to cover up as many of the light squares as I can, lock everything down. And I learned later this is a mistake because they can just push the pawn, which is what they do. They play c6. I take. Bishop takes. And then I go for bishop g5. And this was probably a panic move because this is one of my first rated games in over half a year, so I'm not exactly calculating as I would in the training. And this move doesn't really do anything. They can just move the knight if they want to keep the knight. They can let me take the knight. It doesn't do anything but help them if I take the knight, actually. And so they just push the pawn to d5. I take the knight on f6. They take bishop f6. I push the pawn to e5, trying to block out their sight with the bishop again. They move back, and so they can push here with f6, and then they're fine. They clear out the pawn and they're fine. But that's not what they actually play. They just, first I play rook e1, reinforcing the pawn, so they can't actually do that trade. Oh no, they can. Never mind. They push d4. I play knight e4. And then they just blunder their bishop for no reason. I don't understand what they were thinking in this move. I guess they didn't understand how knights move. Because after bishop x e5, it's just knight x e5. And I'm up 2 pieces of material. We're only 15 moves in too, so they've already blundered a piece in such a short time. I don't understand. One of the things I was thinking during this game was like, I thought it was harder than this. I guess I kind of underestimated my training, but yeah, this game went too smoothly, especially because in the next move, they blunder a second piece by playing knight e7, and they just give up their bishop for no reason. So I play knight x c6, attack their queen, and just win another piece. So I'm up 5 pieces of material now, and we're only 16 moves in. They play queen c7, attacking the knight, but I just win another pawn, so I'm now up 6 pieces of material, playing knight x e7, which is a check. They slide down with king g7, attack the queen with, it's an empty threat with knight d5, which they see, and thankfully don't hang their queen. That'd be a really quick game. And they play queen c6, which I follow up with knight b4. And this is where they start making a series of mistakes again, and play queen b4. This in itself isn't terrible, but it's the next 3 moves that seals the game for them. I don't really have anywhere I can put my knight, so feeling it's best just to wait, but secure my material and keep everything safe, I just decide to play a3. That's it. They play knight to c5, trying to trade the bishop for the knight, which isn't a terrible idea, except their queen is in such a vulnerable spot. They really should have played something like queen d7 or queen e8. Just get the queen out of there. It's getting so claustrophobic. It's best just to get out of there. And I capitalize on that by playing b3. Now in this position, the only safe square that they have is a5 for the queen. So, just by my calculations, they're so screwed. The only way they can get out of this is like earlier I said, playing queen d7 or queen e8. Everything else hangs the piece. But no, they play queen a5. And that just loses the queen. Queen is trapped. There's nowhere for it to go. And now normally people would resign at this point, but no, they continue playing, which is admirable. And they take my bishop on d3. And I see in this position, I'm going to lose a bishop and a rook for queen and then knight. So I'm going to be up 4 pieces of material. So I take. And they take. And I take. And I didn't really calculate far enough. I should have also calculated that I would lose the knight. But I just saw, hey, I'm going to win 4 pieces of material. And so my knight is hanging here. But they don't take. They play rook e8. So I just save my piece. Especially because in this position, I can lock my knights very easily. Like playing knight d6, and while a pawn push can disconnect it, it's still quite useful. Especially because on the first turn playing knight d6, they have to move the rook. But they push the pawn, which makes this decision easier because I now have to move my knight. So I'm playing knight d6. And then in this position, they play rook e6, which I'm not sure what the intent behind this move is, just other than getting it out of the way. It doesn't feel like it's improving the position for them at all, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm also 1100 right now. Spoiler, I'm 1100 ELA now. And so I just play queen b4, getting out of the pin, threatening to take on d4, threatening to take on b5. Like, there's open material easily accessible for me. And so they play a5, which just means I can take whatever I want. It doesn't do anything. It's just hurting the position for them more and more. And looking back at this game, I should have probably gone with queen d4 instead of queen... Oh no, I did go with queen x d4. They push the pawn to f6. I push the rook, and this is actually a bad move because my back rank is still weak. I need to be very careful in this position. And they seem to have seen it, you'd think, based on the fact that they play rook d8. Next, I play queen a7 check. They move to h6. And now, in this position, I didn't notice it at the time, but there's actually a fork with knight f7, and you just pick up the rook. But instead, I played just a waiting move. Played rook d1, and it still has the same back rank problems. I really, at this point, should have been more mindful and played h3. Just ensure no back rank shenanigans are happening. But they don't seem to see it, and they play takes. And then I just take back, and everything's fine. Everything's good. And this is near the end of the game. And they play rook e2. Rook e2 just isn't good. Because I got rook c1, I got knight check, I got queen check technically, but it's terrible because you just throw your queen away for no reason. And even though you're up a rook and a knight, you shouldn't really throw away a queen. But I play rook c1. It's just standard, safe chess. I just wanted to wait until they made a mistake, which they do on the very next move. They play rook d2. And then with a simple check with queen e3, they push the pawn, but it doesn't matter because I just take with queen d2. And that was it. They resigned. Alright, that is the first of many videos of Road to 1500. If you have any advice, you want me to go more in depth, admittedly that's around as far as I see into a game. If you want me to spend more time on each move, I can attempt to do so. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great day. Peace.